It's not your lost case. Happy Thursday, everybody! And here we are with Danny Ham on his InFocus call. It's all about gratitude, attitude, and commitment. And today we're going to dive into a very important topic, and that's growth. Danny, welcome, troublemaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Curls. This is our call. This is not my call. It's a lot of pressure when you say it's my call.
True. It's our call. It's our
call. It's our call. We all do this. If I had to talk for an hour, nobody would show up, including myself. So thank you for doing all this. Here's the disclaimer. Everything discussed on this call is my responsibility for Curls to deal with. So if you don't like anything that I say, just reach out to her and she will get you sorted. Absolutely. All right, what's going on? Let me do my gallery view here. So don't talk now?
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Got it. All right, let me get my gallery view so I can see all the peeps.
What are you doing to me, Danny?
Just sending you some love, girl. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It is fabulous to see you here again. All right, let me move my screen around. Alba, hello. Charlie, nice and early on the West Coast. What is up, my friend? Casper. Good to see everybody. Toyin, hello. Welcome.
While I'm bringing people over the panel, I got a wonderful message from Danny on Tuesday singing happy birthday. And that was really cool. Do you want to do it now again?
Well, it was more of a talking. It was like, happy birthday, Curls. You are so amazing. And I'm so grateful for you. And I really appreciate all you do for our community and for me. And you make my life better by being in it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I was trying to make you sing, but it didn't work. It didn't land.
we would have no attendees immediately if I started to sing.
Sure,
that is a true story. That is a true story.
Thank you, Baba. All right, the floor is all yours.
Awesome, thank you. Cecilia, welcome. John Brooks, my mate, what is going on? Good to see you here. All right, guys, so today, first off, I want to see if anyone, last week's action item was to not complain, right? Was to try to be mindful of our complaining. And if we do, to not verbalize. And I was just wondering if anybody attempted to do that or had any experience that they wanted to share. I can say, Nasco, you go first, my friend.
Yeah, I needed to choose either to be honest or to just hide somewhere, because honestly, I needed to say that I really tried and I failed miserably. So at least now, what I did is as kind of a purposeful goal every day. I said, okay, today, starting from whatever time till the end of the day, I said, okay, I'm not complaining about anything. I'm not complaining about anything, neither the weather, neither whoever is around me. So day by day, I just ticked the box like, okay, today is a success, but next day, So I think all in all, I failed miserably, because I was finding myself complaining for this and for that, even though I kind of tried to control it. So please allow me another couple of weeks, Danny. That's my experience. At least I know how not to do it.
That's how I learn everything. I love it. I appreciate you sharing. Hilton, what was your experience?
Thank you.
Okay, my experience with it was, especially, I decided to do it for the entire month, as in August, all the way through August without complaining. But yesterday I was really tested with, I'm part of the Federation of Master Builders here in the UK, and there's a monthly prescription every single month, what they charge, and they gave us a 4 months holiday from not paying it. And yesterday they called me to take the payment, and I said to them, well, why am I paying for something I couldn't use in lockdown? we was not working. There was no way we could use that particular service, and I found it difficult not to complain. But in the end, I said to them, I really appreciate the service you've done in the past for me, and not to complain, because this month is about that. And she said she understood why I wouldn't and why I would complain, but they've decided to charge us anyway for the time which we haven't used. So that's really testing. Anyway, that's what I got from it. So I'm doing it all this month. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I see every day. I see Hilton in a different coffee shop. I think he just walks around and goes into different ones every day to log on to the different calls. My man. All right. Did anybody else have any experience they wanted to share from their attempting to not complain since the last call? All right, Joris.
I have to admit, I complained only once last week, and that was because of my ex. It was a wonderful week, really. Very grateful.
I love it. Once is good. Once is good. You know, I was, I don't think that I complain, right? And then, like, when I said, all right, let's try this. So let's be mindful of the times we're going to complain. And, I'm kind of an asshole, I think, because, like, I had, like, quite a few times where I wanted to complain, right? And I didn't, but I caught myself. But it was more frequent than I would have anticipated, And I didn't even really, I had a good week, you know what I mean? But there were just some times, life happens, where if I hadn't done that, if we hadn't been doing this together, I think I might have complained a little bit, mom's in assisted living and dealing with some stuff at that place and all that. And, rules, which I'm not big on rules, like rules make me want to complain. Apparently that's like a trigger, especially when there's nothing you can do about them. But I kept it to myself, and I just said, I am so grateful that my mother is safe and you guys are doing the best you can, and I'm going to hang up now before I complain. So thank you very much. Shabir, you had your hand up, my friend.
Hello, everyone. I'm not complaining, but I really want to share this. I really want to share with you guys. Today was one of the worst days in the past 6 months since this COVID-19 started. I was that upset that.
Hold on, Shabir, hold on.
Okay.
Someone is sharing his screen. Can you please stop sharing your screen?
I didn't do it.
I can't see. Yeah, hold on, let me check. It happens. Leo, if you click on the button at the bottom of your screen, you should see a red button somewhere that says stop sharing. I'll try and do it on my side as well. Oh, Shabir, sorry for the interruption. Go on.
That's okay. Thank you, Leah, for giving me some chance to breathe and then start again. That was good. Everything happens for a reason. Guys, today, honestly, it's just coming from inside that I want to share with you guys. And I'm glad we have this kind of calls, and thanks to Danny to allow us to come and share. Today, I was in a stage that I really want to smash my laptop. Honestly, I was in this stage. I was this close to just punch the screen and just say, no, that's it. And it wasn't just about work. My mind is, I don't know, nothing happened to me personally, but I just don't feel good. I just don't want to talk to anyone. I did not want to come to this call. Honestly, guys, I did not want to come to this call. I talked to my wife, I talked to my son, they just keep coming and say we're here and all those kind of thing. And I pushed myself. I said, I'm coming to this call. And one of the problem today happened, I have sent a broadcast to my leads that we all do. This is part of our business. And for the 10K webinar that we all promote that, instead of sending my link, I send SFM's link. So any of those leads, if they decide to go on, they go direct to SFM. It does not come to me. It was a lot of them. I just send it. And I've been in contact with the support team, the amazing support team of SFM. They've been helping me and they're trying to, but the only answer that they could not give me, and I don't blame them and I'm not complaining about it, that those emails are gone into everyone's inbox and bad luck, my friends. That is what it is. That is exactly what it is. I have received some really negative messages from the social media, and I love those ones. But you see, by looking at it, it's just putting a stress on you. I pushed myself to be in this call. I said, it's okay. I'm going to wake up 6 a.m. in the morning to be on Justin's call. Because this is how life is, guys. This SFM is amazing that we have this community. Because this life is not easy. It will attack you like no tomorrow. Sometimes pinch you, sometimes slap you, sometimes punch you like no tomorrow. I have copped that punch today to my face. And I'm telling you guys, I'm not complaining. I'm just sharing it. If that happens to any of you, stand tall and just keep doing it and keep pushing it. Now it's 11 p.m. I'm so tired. I got a massive headache, but I said, I'm going to be in this call and I'm not going to stop this. Never ever complain, guys, because it doesn't just happen to you. It does, and I know it. Today I got my share, tomorrow someone else get their shares, and tomorrow will be a new day. You got to keep going and you got to keep doing it. Never ever complain, because I said last week, when you complain, 80% don't care and 20% glad that's you. Any of you glad that it's me? I don't think there's any of you, but you know, it is what it is. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Curls, and thank you, everyone. I really want to share. It was inside, and I wanted to bring it out. And it's out. It's out, but I don't complain. I'm grateful. I'm grateful I'm still here. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for sharing, brother. Pain shared is pain lessened, my friend. That's how it works, right? And it's awesome that today's topic is on growth, you know, and that's how we grow, by getting uncomfortable. You know, I got a buddy of mine in recovery, and he always says, you know, most of my days are amazing, you know, better than I could have imagined. And so sometimes I have a shitty day. And when I do, I just kind of realize, you know what? Everybody has a shitty day. Today's just my turn. You know what I mean? We all have our turn, right? And it's not life against us. It's not the universe against us. It's shit happens, man. You know what I mean? And as long as we keep moving forward, eventually we step out of it, right? So that's how it is, man. I'm glad you're here, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, man. Does anybody else have anything they want to share from not complaining of the last couple of weeks? All right. I'm going to continue to try that, right? Because I think the goal is to just be mindful of times that we would do it. You know, just the fact that we take a pause to realize that we're about to complain, that's growth in itself right there, right? Just being aware of it. Because a lot of people, that's just their reaction. Like, they just complain. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could give them some 10-course meal that's awesome and they don't like the dessert and they're going to bitch about it, right? Like, that's just their nature. But I think that if we just pause and we're mindful about what's going through our head, then eventually we start to become more of the person we want to be, you know, and just be aware of that. So today, I want to talk a little bit about growth. So I'm going to pull up my notes here because I do have some notes, and it's one of my favorite topics. Shabir, that was perfect, man. Like, that was right in alignment with what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm not saying that your bad day is to help all of us on this call, but I'm just saying it probably did not hurt to have that example, my friend. You know what I mean? So thanks for showing up. So growth, right? Why is it so critical in our lives? And, you know, I really believe in life that we're either growing, you know, or we're dying. You know, there's this quote I heard a long time ago that's always stuck with me. If you're green, you're growing. And if you're ripe, you're rotting. And I didn't really know what it meant at the time because I was super young, but Ray Kroc said that, the dude that started McDonald's and, you know, is making the world fat. But that was a very brilliant statement, right? Because once we think we know everything, once we think we're here, where else is there to go? You know, if you're not green and growing, then we're rotting, you know? So growing is just, it is part of nature, okay? It's part of the human experience. And too many of us start to get stagnant, you know, and we wonder why we're not happier, right? Like there is no finish line in life. You know, it's the process, it's the journey. And, you know, I believe that one of the pathways to true happiness, to, you know, to true bliss, to true fulfillment is to always be growing, you know, always be changing and always be evolving and chasing that ultimate version of ourselves. You know, that process should be happening like on an hourly basis, man, on a daily basis, you know. And like speaking of nature, I found this super interesting. You know, I like to Google stuff. That's my in-depth research. And did you know that your body has 37 trillion cells in it? Okay, 37 trillion cells, and 810,000 of those cells are replacing themselves every single second of our body. Like we are in constant change. Okay, and you know, just since our call has started, that's, I don't know, I can't do the math, but that's like millions of cells that have been replaced just since we've been sitting here. Okay, so our bodies are changing and growing and evolving without us even thinking about it. We're changing all the time, right? And even though we don't feel it physically in our body, we're growing constantly on a regular basis. And you know, my belief is that the same thing should be happening in the other areas of our life, right? Like not just on a cellular level, but every level of our life. Okay, so you know, just think about what's going on, like without us even thinking about it. Okay, without us even being conscious of it. And so I googled like some of these things about things in the body that change and replace. And one so our digestive tract replaces itself every 4 days. I thought that was super amazing. Lung tissue every 8 days, and that every year 10% of our skeleton replaces itself. I had no idea. Every single year. That's crazy to me. 10% of your bones, man, replace themselves every year. Okay. And the more that we begin to study this, how human beings replace themselves and grow, the more we understand the requirement to grow in our lives. You know, like the pathway to happiness, it just changes all the time. And how we adapt to that determines our mindset, determines our serenity a lot. So, you know, obviously a lot of growth in our body that's happening without us seeing it, you know, or even being aware of it. But, you know, in order to grow the external part of our lives, in order to grow our identities, in order to grow our happiness, our confidence, you know, we need to be aware that is something that we have to take control of, like every single day, you know. And so today we're going to talk about growing in our life, right? So what it really means is like every 10 years, as far as the body itself and all the changes, we're a completely different person, right? So like, what if every year, right, we could create a different version of ourselves, right? As most of you know, I don't have kids, right? But I have like 12,000 nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews. And yeah, I remember a couple years ago when I was at my sister's house, and my little nephew Eli, he had gone to bed, you know, and my sister said, okay, I got to go in there and check on Eli. I said, wasn't he asleep? She's like, yeah, but he asked me to come in and check on him even though he's asleep. And I was like, isn't he kind of old for that? Because he was like 10, you know? And she said, well, yeah, maybe. She goes, but he's never going to be this age again, you know? So as long as he asked me to do that, I'm going to do it, you know, and I'm going to enjoy the fact that he's this age because it won't come back, you know? And everybody that has kids talks about how fast they grow up, you know, and they're constantly changing and they're never going to be that age again. But we don't think about that as much as adults, right? About us growing into different people. Like, hopefully, you know, this time next year, I'm a completely different Danny than I am right now, right? And I don't think we put enough thought into that, you know? So a lot of people tend to just think, well, I'm grown now, and this is just how I am, you know? And that's I don't know, I put some thought into that, man. I don't want that to be me, you know? So like, for one, I've been diligently fighting this whole growing up thing my entire life, right? Like, fight the power. I think it's a trap. I don't want to grow up. Okay. But it's necessary for me to grow as a person. Okay. Because I've also seen people who just get stuck and settle with where they are because they think they're done growing, you know? And even though our bodies are constantly replenishing themselves and you know, changing, like we talked about, we don't replace ourselves with the next best version of ourselves all the time, you know? And there becomes an age different for all of us, you know, maybe it's 18, maybe it's 28, right? Where, you know, the next year's version of ourselves is pretty much just like the previous year, you know, in their life, or their results, their wealth, happiness, their faith, you know, where their fitness is exactly the same for some of us. You know, it's the 30-year-old looks just like the 29-year-old, and the 35-year-old's life looks just like the 34-year-old's life, and so on. And, you know, this process of growth begins to slow down. Okay. You know, in some cases it just stops altogether, where we're not replacing ourselves every year, you know? So for the last few years, I've been focused on living life to the fullest, right? I went on for quite a while where I was just existing and, you know, surviving basically. And, you know, once I clawed my way out of that, you know, I gained a new appreciation and gratitude for life. Okay. You know, my girlfriend tells me all the time that I'm obsessive, you know, and I just say, well, you know, look, obsessed is a word the lazy use to describe the dedicated. And, you know, as you can imagine, that goes over about as well as a fart in church. But, you know, I believe that to be dedicated, you know, to really improve at anything, like, that's how I have to feel. Like, I think, to me, I need to be a little obsessive about it, you know, because if not, it'll fall by the wayside, right? There's a guy, I've talked about him on here. He produces probably my favorite content, you know, Ed Milet. I know Kate and Reggie are familiar with him, but you know, he has this thing that he talks about where he says his goal, what drives him every day, is that whenever he dies, right? So he's a man of faith, and he believes that whenever he dies, he's going to meet his maker, and he's going to be introduced to the person that he was put here to be, right? The person he was put here on earth to be, and that his biggest fear in life and what drives him is that they'll be total opposites, you know? So every day he wakes up to try to maximize the potential to be the person that his higher power put him here on earth to be, right? And I love that. Like, I think that is insanely motivating, at least for me it is, right? Because sometimes I don't really have a benchmark, right? Like, I'm just trying to be better. Well, what is better? How do you define better? You know, how do we grow every day? And I think that his example, you know, whenever I think about that, it's like, I believe we always know what's the next right thing, right? Like, what's the next right thing? Okay. And I think that inherently we kind of know what's the next right thing to do, you know? So sometimes if I don't know what to do, or if it's something that's in front of me that I don't have a plan for, I just do the next right thing, whatever that happens to be, right? If I miss the trash can with a piece of paper, walk over there and pick it up, even if you don't feel like it. It can be that small, right? But it's just that next right thing. So, you know, I believe that, you know, the only way that we get to that ultimate version of ourselves is by replacing ourselves, you know, and a lot of people want to change, but there's no urgency in it. You know, it's like, yeah, I'd like to grow, you know, I'll look into it, you know, I should get around to it, you know, but they're not in a hurry, you know. And remember, man, like, tomorrow is not guaranteed, you know. But I love that's quote by Buddha, man. He says, the problem is you think you have time. And that's so true. You know, everybody on here knows somebody who they've lost, or they know somebody who's just gone, right? And we kind of take for granted for the fact that tomorrow's going to come, and it doesn't always do that, you know. So, you know, we need to make the most of today, right? We need to feel the best that we can about ourselves today, you know, and we need to grow, and it needs to become an intention of ours, right? Like, not just wake up and be like, okay, today's going to be fine, but like, be intentional about it, you know. Like, we can't always just acquire the things that we want, you know. We can't always just get the whatever stuff, you know, your car, your house, or be a relationship, like, or peace of mind, you know. But we are in control of acquiring the next version of ourselves, you know. And I believe that requires being uncomfortable, You know, like Shabir was talking about earlier, he's uncomfortable right now, you know, and this is an opportunity for growth, right? And you know, like just being in the gym, you know, the only way we grow, just being in the gym doesn't do anything. The only way we grow is to break things down and build them back up, you know, and this is true in our lives as well. You know, sometimes to grow, we may have to take a step back or 2 steps back. You know, it may get uncomfortable. It's most likely going to get uncomfortable. And I just like using exercise as an analogy because to me, it just relates to life so much. You know, it's like, and most people have exercised at least at some point in their life, right? Even if it was back when you were a kid, you know, and, you know, doing those last reps in the gym, man, they hurt, you know, and when I'm doing, I'm like, I always remind myself, if it's hurting, I'm growing, you know, and if it's not hurting, I'm really just wasting my time, you know, and, you know, we all know that intuitively when it comes to, you know, physical muscles in our body, but it's also true of our identity, right? In our confidence and in our life in general. You know, if everything is just easy all the time, are we really growing? You know, is it really doing us any good to just do the same stuff that's comfortable all the time? You know, it ought to hurt a little bit, you know, at least so that you know you're growing. You know, we don't avoid the pain, we run towards it, you know? And, you know, so how do we grow, right? There are some decisions that need to be made, right? First, like, ask yourself the question, you know, if I went to the gym and I never put myself in any uncomfortable situations, in other words, if I never got uncomfortable, would I be growing? No, you know, so evaluate it for a second. You know, how many uncomfortable situations are you putting yourself in right now? You know, just think about, say, the last week, you know, or even the last month. How many really uncomfortable situations are you putting yourself in that challenged you, you know, that grew you, that pushed you to be that next level of being who you are, you know? And I think that sometimes, you know, we're under the illusion that we're going to get these external things we want without growing who we are. And I don't believe that could be further from the truth. You know, I mean, in fact, you know, if we were to acquire all these things without growing who we are, we wouldn't understand the power of our identity. You know, we would eventually lose those things because they're not congruent with who we are as a person, right? So, you know, one, just evaluate the last week, evaluate the last month, right? How many uncomfortable situations are you putting yourself in to intentionally grow? Putting yourself in spaces where you're not completely prepared for it, you know, that you have some anxiety or some fear about, you know, are you putting yourself in these situations? And, you know, like kids do it all the time, you know, whether they're like little kids learning to walk or like in school aged learning algebra, you know, they're in situations that challenge them and make them uncomfortable. And as adults, we tend to avoid that, you know, I mean, so we're growing at a far slower pace, man. So first we need to put ourselves in these uncomfortable situations. You know, and the second thing is, you know, what are you listening to, right? What are you reading? You know, we're all here today, so we know that, you know, we're at least masterminding with some positive people, right? I mean, this is growing you, right? I mean, it grows me, right? Being in the space of all of you, you know, and when I log into other people's calls, you know, I've talked in here about how much JJ's calls mean to me, right? So, like, are we regularly listening to uplifting or educational podcasts? You know, or are you listening to Harry Potter? You know, not that there's anything wrong with Harry Potter, but we're probably not going to grow a whole lot if that's all the content that we consume, right? And, you know, are you feeding yourself the sustenance, the nutrition that you need to grow, you know, physically and mentally? You know, are you exercising your body and your mind? You know, the things that we read and we listen to on a regular basis, I mean, that's the nutrition for our minds. You know, that's what helps us grow, you know, and that's the second thing. And y'all know I'm a huge fan of books. You know, I love books. And now that there's audiobooks too, like, I just think that's the best thing since sliced bread, right? Because I can listen to books while I'm doing laundry or doing whatever. I don't have to be just sit there reading a book, right? Which I try to do both, but there's so much content out there now, and there's so much of it that's really, really good, you know? So just be mindful and think about, what am I choosing to listen to? What am I feeding my brain with, you know? Y'all know how I feel about the news. If you're feeding it with the news, that's just crap, in my humble opinion. you should stop that. Listen to something positive that's going to help us be better people, right? So third thing is, who are you hanging around? Now, we did a whole webinar on this, and I know you hear about it all the time, so I won't beat it to death, right? But I just believe there's such an incredible power to who you're around. You know, I mean, you have to have the friends who make you clean up the house before they come over. You know, does that make sense to you? You know, like, I have some, and I try to keep my house pretty clean. Like, not trying to brag or anything, but I'm pretty anal, right? But there are some people that, if they come over, I want to make sure everything's just a little tidier. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit different. And, you know, that's not saying that we don't need to have the friends that we can just lay around and eat pizza all day and our house can look like shit, because those friends are fun. You know, we need to have that comfort and that familiarity too, but we also need friends in our life that make us want to level up. You know, friends that want to make us perform at a higher level. And by associating with those people, we raise our game, you know, and people who believe in the next version of you. You know, I've been blessed to have some people in my life who've seen things in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. And whenever I catch up to what they think of me, they're like, see, I told you, you know, and that's important, you know, and I try to be that for other people. And we should do that too, right? So, you know, do you have those kind of associations? Okay, because this causes us to begin to grow. And, you know, like there's a lot of people on this call that make me want to be better. You know, a few out, like Shabir, he always makes me want to level up being of service to people. Always, you know, like Nasco always shows up for his family, man. And that inspires me, right? I mean, Hilton, like his dedication, producing valuable content every day when he's out there, for some reason, that still scares the shit out of me. Like, I should be live broadcasting more often, and I just don't, right? And I stay out of Facebook most of the time, but I get notified when Hilton puts something out there because I watch his content all the time, man, because he is consistent at it, right? And he does it even when he doesn't feel like it, and that fires me up, right? So eventually I'll have that much courage and I'll do the same thing. But for now, I'm just going to let him do it, right? But just being around him makes me raise my game, okay? So we really need to have somebody in your life who just makes you a little bit uncomfortable in a good way, right? So, you know, the next thing is being intentional and specific about the type of growth you want, right? So we talk all the time about having goals, and, you know, but I'm talking about being specific and intentional, okay? So, you know, if you show me somebody who goes to the gym and works out just to get more fit and healthier, compared to someone who goes to the gym to have a specific weight loss goal or a specific body fat percentage or whatever their goal is, flexibility, right? Like their heart health. You know, this person who is intentional and laser focused on what they want will have results that are light years apart from the person who just goes through the motions. You know, like so back in my early 20s, I used to be the general manager of a Gold's Gym, which is like a health club here in America. It's like a fitness center, right? And we had these aerobics classes. I don't know if that's a thing over there, but like group fitness, right? Okay, no, okay, so no, not so much. So, and I noticed this, man, there would be the same people and they would come every day, right? And I worked there for a few years, you know, I started to notice after like a year and a half that these people looked exactly the same. They never changed, ever, right? Because they would just show up to do this class for however many minutes. And I actually tried the class one time. It was hard, dude. Like, it was hard, right? Like for me, like I was making fun of it and then I did it and I was like, okay. But that's because I wasn't used to doing it. But these people got used to doing it and then they just did the same thing every day. And there was no intention behind it, you know, and that stuck with me, right? So it's just like that. You know, if we're laser focused and we have this intention and we're specific with the benchmarks that we have and we put dates on achieving things, and there needs to be a date, right? Otherwise it's just a wish. If we get intentional about these goals, the time that we're investing in our growth, regardless if it's physical or mental or physical or spiritual or emotional, whatever it is, okay? Our time spent is going to be so much more efficient and we're going to get so much more out of that time by being intentional. You know, it's the It's the intentional specific outcome and the deadline, that will be accomplished for this that puts our brain into hyperactive growth mode. It puts us into intention, and, specificity is the key to growth, right? And by the way, so is simplicity. Okay. We must execute our plan. And the more simple it is, the easier it is to execute. Having an intense, intentional, specific, and simple growth plan leads to the biggest gains of our life, right? In any area. Like we've all talked about how we can, I'm super guilty of this. I can overcomplicate some shit in my head without a doubt, and not get any results. But the more simple and direct and easy to follow, Rasmus, you feel me, man? It's like that's life. You know what I mean? It's like the easier we do, the more it is, and the easier it is to complete, easier it is to reach our goal. Okay. So, the next piece to this, I believe is to create momentum, right? And we've talked about it a lot on this call, is setting small, achievable goals, and then we do them. Like we have to do them, and then do them consistently, right? No matter what. Okay. It doesn't matter if we feel like it or we don't feel like it. How we feel about it is irrelevant, really. If we've made the commitment to ourselves, it gets done, and by setting these goals that are small and achievable, that's how we build our momentum. Small wins are huge, and they lead us to the bigger wins. An example that I used to use a lot when I was, coaching my sales team was a basket of fruit. Okay. And, the sales guys and girls, politically correct, all of my whole team would always want to fill their basket with watermelons. Okay. Like this is our fruit analogy. And they wanted these big sales. They got these huge commissions, and their nature would be to just focus on that, and those sales are few and far between. Like they take a long time to cultivate. You don't just walk into somebody's office and they want to write you a check for $1 million. That's not usually a thing, right? So I told them you have to focus on putting some apples in your basket, and you got to have a whole bunch of strawberries, okay? Because those little goals, those little sales, those things that don't take as much effort, but they build your confidence. And then you get those apples. And then whenever you're in there trying to put watermelons in your basket, you're trying to get those big sales, you have this confidence that you built up by keeping your basket full, right? And by having positive momentum. And that's what it's all about. We've all experienced it. When we build momentum, we're in that flow. We're saying the right things and we're doing the right things. And it's like there's a rhythm to life, and when you succeed, there's a rhythm to success. When someone has momentum, it's to the music, man. It's not to the words, if that makes sense. When you have momentum, it's to the beat of the music. It's not to the lyrics, of life. And that's how life is. When you don't have momentum, you can be doing all the right things and making all the right moves, but it's just not clicking, and life can feel that way without the momentum. So, sometimes it's like dancing to the words and not the music, right? You ever see that guy? Like, I know everybody's been to like a club at some point in their life, and you see the guy who's dancing to the actual words and has no beat, right? That's a thing. That's actually how I dance all the time. So I'm familiar with this. Okay. But that's how life is, man. Life has a rhythm to it. Okay. There's a pace and there's a cadence, and, it's generated, I believe, by these small wins. Okay. And, all of a sudden things just start to fall into place in such a way that it just feels easier. Okay. It's like when we're pushing a rock uphill, okay, and we get that rock to the top, that was a struggle, but rolling down the other side, man, you got some momentum. Okay. And then it becomes easier, right? And then what we have to be mindful of is, once we gain that momentum, is not to stop. Like a lot of people will put in all this work to get their life in this flow state and to get everything running smooth, and then they just quit doing what they did. And the most obvious example I see is people that go out and they're like, all right, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to lose this much weight. And they start crushing it. They start eating right. They start exercising. They start doing all the things that get them this result that they want. And then what do? They quit, right? And then they wonder why in 6 months they look exactly like they did when they started, because they stopped doing the things that got them that result, right? And that's the same in your daily activities. That's the same in your relationships. You know, if you put in a bunch of work to build a relationship, whether it's your partner or your friend or business or whatever, and you get this wonderful relationship, and now all of a sudden you quit putting in the work because it's easy, it's not going to sustain itself, right? So once we get that momentum, once we start building these things, we need to continue to do the things that got us there, right? And you know, I think this is the key to getting to that ultimate version of you, right? Of ourselves, like the combination of the growth and the momentum, you know, and just keep getting those small wins to build that momentum. So, you know, just my message today is just be mindful, you know, and set yourself up for success and rack up the small wins to build that momentum so we can be intentional with our growth. All right. So that's enough out of me, actually. So I wanted to kind of go around and just get some ideas from you guys. So, you know, I thought about this. What is something that today, right now, is different about you than this time last year that you notice in your daily life? What's something that's different? You know, when I thought about when I was doing my, you know, prep for this, I thought about, so of course I try to ask myself the same questions, right? And for me, the thing that jumped out first was today, I am more focused on the process than the result. You know, I have quite a few things I believe they're different for me than a year ago, but I think the biggest thing, you know, is a year ago, I was very much focused on checking my numbers every single day, and here's where I'm at, and looking for that result. Whereas today, and it's taken a while, and it's taken some effort, and it's taken some, like, I'm going to touch it. No, you're not going to do that, right? But I'm more focused on the day-to-day items and the process of the things that I do that I believe will give me the result that I want, right? So that is my example. So what are some things that you guys have? This is our call, and I'm talked out, man. So help a brother out. Shabir.
I waited a bit if someone put the hand up, but I did because you asked the question, someone has to jump out. No one did, and I want to share something. Okay, last year at this time, as you guys can see the books behind me, I love my books. I got really good books here, really good books. I'm in love with them. And I said to all my family and friends, beside my family, you come to my house, get anything you want, I will smile and I say, take it, but don't go close to my books. So that's how much I love my books. And last year at this time, I was reading different books. But now I just realized something. I said, if I have two books in front of me, which book should I choose? Which book is helping me right now that I have to read that book, not just to read book for the sake of it to read book. And I have chosen this book, The Healing Self by Dr. and Professor Deepak Chopra. I had another book beside it, How to Become a Millionaire. Then I said to myself, become a millionaire is, yes, I want to become a millionaire, but how to heal my body is more important than become a millionaire. What if I become a millionaire and I don't know how to treat my body, how to calm myself, how to ground myself, how to know about my body and mind, how it works? That $1 million would not help me. So I'm reading this book and I'm absolutely in love with this book. It's so much about body and our mind that we don't know. And once you know about it, it will help you so much. If you heal your body and your mind and you know about it, then it's easy to make $1 million. That's the second step. So since last year till now, last year I was reading any books. Now I'm choosing which book is working, helping me right now. And then I pick that book and I start reading it. And that I highly recommend to all of you, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I'm going through that book. This is the 5th time I'm going through, like we're doing mastermind with my team. And now I got my team members, they started their 90-day video journey, and they're sharing whatever they learned from that book, they're sharing it on their videos. So it's so important to pick up the book that is helping you in your present right now. that's what I learned from last year till now. Thank you, Danny, and everyone.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate. I have not read that book by Deepak Chopra. I will add that to my list. Thank you, sir. All right. Anybody else? Anything noticeable that you can think about that's different about yourself than it was a year ago?
Don't be shy. Come on.
Girls, what about you? What about you, dear? What's different about you?
I'm trying to choose because there's so much. But I guess there's definitely more patience with myself and others. More compassion. And yeah, things that would make me react last year don't anymore. I've got that phase, that phase where I'm like, interesting. I observe the trigger, I sit with it, and then I go and have a talk. Because I tend to be quite feisty and fiery. But that's kind of gone now. I'm more of a cool cat now. Yeah, I'm more patient, definitely.
I love it. So you don't give people that power over you, so you're able to respond and not react.
Yes, and also it's interesting to observe why you're triggered. What is the pain behind the trigger? You know, it's not always about the other person. Sometimes they react because they have their own BS going on, and you react because of your own story and your own patterns. So I'm more interested in understanding what's going on there. And then I can come back with more boundaries and calmness and with a better message rather than reacting.
Absolutely. Yeah, usually when people react poorly, including ourselves, me included, it's usually rooted in some type of fear or insecurity. Right?
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think every year you get braver, more courageous. We build a muscle around that, and every year we become better in stepping into something that is unknown, a bit bigger. We're constantly stretching that comfort zone, and it hasn't stopped since I've joined the SFM. But every year there's something that scares us, and it's the next step is always scary. And I think this changes every year. Just know how to handle it better. You'll be scared no matter what. You're just better at jumping in the pool. You're just like, oh yeah, I recognize that voice. Yeah, that's cool. Let's still go. You grab it and you jump with it. And then you're like, we'll figure it out. Come on, fear. Let's go together. We'll have fun. So
I agree with that. I think that's also, I think that's intentional. I think that you make that choice to grow from those things and to face that fear, and to learn from that, right? Because there's some people that have the exact same situation and they use that to go further into their shell or to build up this harder exterior to avoid things, right? So I think that it's, it does take courage to face those things, to choose to grow from them, right? And to face those fears. I think that's a perfect example. Absolutely. And I think we're super blessed to be part of this community, right? I mean, where else can you just be surrounded by people all over the planet all the time who are trying to be better every day? It's pretty uncommon, at least over here in my hood, So I'm assuming it's everywhere.
And open enough to share when they're, not getting the things done. Like Joris said, oh yeah, I complained once today. And then NASCO was like, it went out of the window. And I love that. That is courage. That is brave. It's so easy to say, yeah, I managed, I was good. But it's so much more human and real to say, yeah, I kind of was so challenged. That was hard and I didn't manage it, but I'm still going to keep on trying. And that's the whole point of these exercises. Nobody's expecting this to work like that because you have to build the habits. You need to get used to that. You need to build that awareness Obviously, it's not going to work in the first 2 weeks. No, but you're aware now and you can catch yourself when you're doing it, and then you'll become better at it in the next few months. So I love that, Nasco. Really love that you shared. Amazing.
Thank you, Curls. All right, so we wrap up 5 minutes till, because Curls has a call right after this, and we try to give her time to breathe because she's so incredible to all of us. So, so our action item for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to continue to focus on the not complaining thing. You know, I'm pretty good. I'm really good about not verbally complaining. I am good about that, but apparently I do think about it a lot more than I would like to. So I'm going to focus on being mindful of when I would like to complain. But the action item for the next 2 weeks is to pick one thing that scares the shit out of you and do it and share it with it on our next call. It could be anything, right? So if you have fear of joining the 90-day video journey, or you have fear of picking up the phone and calling your leads, or you have fear of whatever it is, telling your partner that they're doing something that bothers you, it doesn't matter. Something you have a fear about, just do it, right? And then see how it makes you feel afterwards, and share about it on the call, man. It's been my experience that the things that are the most fearful and painful and uncomfortable, that just on the other side of them is the most peace and freedom and serenity that you can have, man. So we just got to make ourselves face the fear. So that's your action item. And the book of the week is The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. This book's been out for a while, and I read it like in my 20s, which was a hot minute ago, right? But I broke it out and read it again, man. Highly recommend it. The Magic of Thinking Big, because, you know, whenever we think big, right, and we put ourselves here where we want to be, we remove barriers, and we're able to set these intentions to grow, to be that next best version of ourselves. So that's what I got for today. Thank all of you. Casper, did you want to say something, brother?
Yeah, I just checked my email. Can you guys hear me? You good? I just checked my email, and I just wanted to share why I was exactly 1 year ago. It was the day that I signed up for the SFM.
Boom!
1 year ago. Still living in Amsterdam, and now I'm living on a tropical island, living a laptop lifestyle. And the thing I wanted to say there is that it's not just because of the affiliate program and that kind of stuff, but it's because of these calls and all the sharing and the mindset change that everyone has been doing to me, that I made the decision to just get out of that 9-to-5 life and live on a tropical island right now. And as many of you know, living on my laptop exactly in 1 year.
Oh man.
Just wanted to say that, and thank you for that, of course. Teamwork, guys, teamwork.
That's it. We all do all of this together, man. So I'm super, super grateful for you guys taking your time to come hang out with the cool kids today.
Danny.
It's awesome hanging out. Love it.
Danny, can
Yes,
I share
sir.
something quick? Okay.
Yep.
Guys, to just conclude about the feeling that I had today, it's just changing me for being on this call, seriously. And there's one thing I've learned from this. Most of you are aware that I'm doing the 25 push-ups, 25 days with my boys, and I keep nominating our community members. Danny, you have been nominated, brother. Don't ignore it. Imagine those people that they have this feeling, they got no one around them, and that's why that anxiety and depression leads to commit suicide. I wasn't in that state, but it was pushing me to that. This today, like really upset. Imagine those people going through this every day. Let's go and let's promote this. Erasmus, we nominated you today, and I've took names of Chris, Hilton, Nasco. Your turn is tomorrow. I'm going to nominate everyone, and Casper, you will be on that list as well, brother. Let's go, and Reggie and Kate, you guys going to be there. And just by looking who is really strong, I'm just picking those people. Thank you, guys.
Remember what I told you, Shabir. Don't you nominate me?
I have warned. I have warned my team members. I said to my wife, please do not nominate girls, because she's going to be disappointed with me, not with you guys. So that's why your name is not there. Don't worry.
Everyone else on the screen. Exactly. Just forget
Danny,
forget my.
No, we did.
Oh, guys, so much for showing up. I'm going to wrap this up.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate you, girls.
Thank you, Danny. I just wanted to say something very quickly to Shabir. You know, even Mother Earth rests sometimes. We all have cycles and we can't be 100% all the time. Sometimes we have to slow down, take care of ourselves, listen to what your soul has to tell you. It's telling you to slow down for a reason. So be kind to yourself, yeah?
Later, y'all. Make it a grateful day.
Keep being awesome.